Hey, what's going on, comic fans? It's Mr. Q Comics back with another haul video. I'm recording this on Sunday, March 15th, so I hope everyone is doing well amidst the craziness going on out there. We are pretty much on lockdown in my local community. Pretty much everything's canceled, just like everywhere else. They just announced they're shutting down schools here for at least the next 2 weeks. So we'll see how that goes. I already work from home, so it's not a huge impact for myself personally. I hope everyone else is able to find childcare if they need it or some other arrangements. I know it's certainly a difficult time for a lot of people, so I hope everyone is able to work through things. It's definitely crazy. It's definitely surreal going to the grocery store, talking to your neighbors. It's like being in a movie. So we did some stocking up on supplies. I hope everyone grabbed their toilet paper. I was not expecting that stuff to fly off the shelves, but like many people, I realized I just needed toilet paper because we had a couple rolls and did not realize it was it was flying off the shelves. So we grabbed what we could. So hopefully it lasts. Otherwise, unfortunately, some of these dollar bin books may have to be repurposed. Gonna have to use the Bronze Age stuff, I think, too. I don't think I'd want to get into the modern stuff, but horrible thought, horrible thought. Anyways, if you're new to the channel, please like the video, subscribe down below, hit notifications. I try and put these out on a regular basis. I'm pretty much mostly a Marvel collector, I guess. I do collect a lot of DC, but Marvel seems to be what I chase mostly. Anyways, what I've got here, this is a pretty recent haul. I'm super backlogged with hauls, but I wanted to get to this one because it's a big dollar bin book haul. I must have picked up 90 plus books at a local shop. They've been putting out dollar bins the past month or so. Same shop that does these grab bags I've shown off in the past. So I went out last weekend. I knew they were putting more stuff out. I love to get there first because they always have some great books in there. And they hadn't put them out on Saturday morning, so I decided to go hit up a different shop first. So I'm going to do the first pickup last because it's got a little bit of a couple of really cool books that I grabbed there. But I had no intention of hitting the second shop, but got out of the first shop, jumped on Instagram, and sure enough, they had put out their dollar books, so I had to get there first. So I ran in and grabbed another massive stack. They've put out 2 or 3 dollar bin, days or whatever weeks you want to call it, over the past month or so. So they'll put them out, let everyone pick through them, and they'll just put a whole new stack out. So I've got another one that I did before this, but I'm doing the last one first, if that makes sense. So let's just dive into it because, again, I got like 100 books here. So I'm going to try and go through quickly. So first book, Action Comics #1, obviously a reprint. This is a Loot Crate reprint. It's got the COA in there, and this is in really good shape. I think it's, at least very fine near mint. So I always grab Action Comics reprints like that. I know some of them can go for a few bucks, so I'm not positive on that one, how much it goes for. All right, some Avengers books. I grabbed 221, which is She-Hulk joins the Avengers. This is from 82. And I grabbed 227, which is Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau joins the Avengers. So she is the first black female Avenger. Good minor keys to pick up with all the speculation. This She-Hulk show, that's I think a good minor key to grab if you can find it for a buck. I wouldn't be paying big money for any of these, but if I find books like this in the dollar bin, I'm all over them. Especially anything with female characters going into the MCU. They're obviously trying to be extremely or as diverse as possible, let's say. So I think these are great pickups. Okay, I grabbed a couple more Atlas books, maybe just one. I tried to trying to keep it under control, so I thought this was just cool. It's Barbarians #1 featuring Ironjaw. It's not Ironjaw's first appearance, but they had a few in there, and I skipped over them this time. But this one was in pretty good shape, and I think, could be wrong, I think it's a Rich Buckler cover. I'm not sure. I can't remember, but it is a cool cover of all the Atlas books. This is a straight-up childhood nostalgia buy for me. Bartman #1 from Bongo Comics Group. I have no idea if this is worth anything, but I grew up on The Simpsons. Simpsons came out when I was in like 6th grade, so we loved, Bart Simpson, Bartman. Every kid was like drawing this in their notebooks when I was in middle school. So straight up nostalgia buy. All right, and they're great because they have some they always put like low-grade silver in there, and they'll just huck in. Sometimes it's pretty good. Sometimes they're completely falling apart. So I grabbed Batman 185. It's obviously shredded. I mean, it's $1 Silver Age Batman book, so you can't expect much. But one of the giant size ones I didn't have, so I grabbed that. Blue Devil #1. Not a huge book or anything. I think it's Blue Devil's second appearance and origin. So I figured that was definitely worth the grab. I've grabbed a few of these in the past. Captain America 275, and I forgot to jot the notes down, but it's first appearance of one of the Baron Zemos. I can't remember if it's the second Baron Zemo. I can't remember. It's an awesome Mike Zeck cover, and I know there's been some speculation that this guy will show up. I believe in the Winter Soldier and Falcon series, I believe, on Disney+. And I think most of those shows have, of course, gotten postponed with production, but I've probably grabbed 3 or 4 of these out of dollar bins. These are pretty easy to find, I think. So again, books like this, I hunt them for $1, but I'm not spending, maybe I'll spend a few dollars if they're in great shape, but it's a nice newsstand copy. A Mike Zeck cover, so for me, it's got more than just the spec going for it. I love Mike Zeck's art from the 80s, so I'll grab books like that every day of the week if I find them for $1. So, all right, this is just a cool Dave Stevens cover. I love this one. I had never seen it. Crossfire in Rainbow, #4 from Eclipse. I've just been starting getting into Dave Stevens, this kind of classic pinup art. I really dig it, and he does there's a lot of covers on these independent books. So when they put out their dollar bins, of course, everyone's stuffing dollar bins full of, Comico and Eclipse and all these other 80s indie books, and there's a lot of Dave Stevens covers in there, so I'm sure I missed a few, but I've been digging and digging, so I try not to overpay for Dave Stevens books, even though I love the covers, because I just feel like I'm going to find them in dollar bins. So this is a cool one. So psyched to find that. And I don't know a ton about Dave Stevens. I am just really starting to get into it, but very cool cover. And guys, these are really just in alphabetical order, the way I had sorted them and stacked them in the box. I always put things in alphabetically. So, all right, I'm sure I've shown this before. Dazzler #1. This is in pretty good shape. I don't think it's near mint, but high VF. So this is the first premiere issue in her first title series. Don't know who did the cover, but it looks like a cool painted cover. I went through their DC Comics Presents as well, and I was psyched to find these. I found these before on the cheap, but in low grade. These are in really good shape. DC Comics Presents 27. It's the first appearance of Mongol, and they had 28 as well. The second appearance, and both of these got to be around near mint range, and which is surprising because I don't think these had bags or anything. Just a run of DC Comics Presents from like #2 through the end of the run. They're good. They pick out the major keys, but they'll leave behind a lot of the minor stuff, and they know they're leaving it, so they don't care because they just deal in so many high end, big key books that they don't have time to deal with everything. So they will put this stuff out knowing that people are getting deals, and hey, great for me. So Fantastic Four 243, just an awesome Galactus cover. Again, this one was high grade, probably VF near mint, so I just dug the cover. John Byrne cover. I've shown this off many times before. Rough shape, but again, it's a dollar bin. It's got a big chunk missing there. Fantastic Four annual #5, first Silver Surfer solo story. Definitely this. You can still find this cheap. I still see this in the $10 range. So guys, this is a book to jump on if you're into the Silver Surfer, Fantastic Four. I mean, if you're a speculator, we know he's going to show up. This is one of those minor keys you can get that's still affordable, and I still see it all the time. All right, I don't think this is worth much of anything, but I'm an Adam Hughes fan, and of course I'm a Star Wars fan, so the free comic book day, Star Wars from Dark Horse. So that is straight up a Adam Hughes cover for $1. So I will grab those again any day of the week. Happy to find that. I had never seen it before, but his art is just, I just love how realistic it is. I mean, it really looks like Harrison Ford to me, and I think of so many artists that are so over embellished, and I know Hughes embellishes obviously some features. So, but still, his art is so realistic to me. I just love it. Okay, we got some Valiant books here, which I never got into as a kid. And I have not bought a ton in terms of speculation, with the exception of the Rise Zero there that I found a couple of times. But I could not pass these up. I knew these books could be pricey. So they had pretty much a full run of Harbinger. No number 1. I know that's the big book, but we got number 2 here. Near Mint's range. This is the first Rock, Swallow, and Sparrow, and I know nothing about the Valiant series, so correct me if I give any misinformation here. This is all pretty much coming straight from the Key Collector app. Number 3, which is the first Axe, who from what I read, is to appear in the Bloodshot movie. We've got number 4, and these are all of these are in Near Mint shape. Number 5, and these are just early issues. They seem to go for, a decent amount, not huge money. I don't know, Key Collector had them at like $12 a pop, but I figured what the heck for $1, Near Mint condition. And number 6, sorry, they're falling over. Now, all of these, I think issues 1 through 6 have coupons in them. So you'd take all the coupons and mail them away to get Harbinger number 0. Coupons in all of these, again, they all have it. They're all in Near Mint condition. One of them's kind of tan on the coupon. I feel like it was issue 4. I can't remember. So very happy to find those. Again, I don't know much about it. Also grabbed number 9, which I believe is like the reimagined origin of Magnus. So very cool finds. Again, I don't know much about Valiant, but for $1 in the shape they were in, I figured it was definitely worth picking up. Who knows how far they're going to go with these Valiant movies, Valiant-based movies. I guess it will depend on how well this Bloodshot movie goes. And I got some more coming up later. So, all right. A couple Iron Man books. This is a cool cover. Iron Man 125. This is, it's early Scott Lang Ant-Man. I think it's 4th appearance, and it's the first Rhodey on the cover. Part of the Demon in a Bottle. Storyline, Bob Layton cover. Good shape, very fine range, something like that. And I grab this. If I find it in dollar bins, I love this cover. Just a classic Doom Iron Man cover. I think this is John Romita Jr. and Layton. Very cool John Romita Jr. cover. Again, not perfect, but this is probably fine, very fine. And I just think it's a great cover. So tough to leave that behind for $1. All right, let me get a little organized here. All right, this is just a first appearance. I don't know anything about this character, but it was a number 1, Cobra number 1. Decent shape, very fine range. Legionnaires number 0, which I'm sure I have before, and I probably just sold it cheap or even put it out at yard sales in the past, honestly. This is in Near Mint condition. First cameo of XS, the granddaughter of Barry Allen. Again, not really a DC guy, so I'm not positive on that. But I grabbed it. That's what the Key Collector had it as, so I picked it up for $1. Number 16, Adam Hughes cover. So, of course, I was grabbing that. I do chase any early Adam Hughes covers from these DC books that I can find. There's a few in this series, I believe. And this one goes for decent money, I think. And, again, this is in good shape. Very fine Near Mint. So, I think I have it, but I wasn't leaving it there for $1. This one, Madman Comics number 1 from Dark Horse. It was a number 1. For some reason, I thought it may have been a key. I don't think it is. I really don't know much about it, and I don't know much about this character. But again, it was $1, so I grabbed it. When I go in there, I just start grabbing stacks and stacks of stuff. Stuff that I'm sure about, stuff that I'm kind of not sure about, and then I'll kind of go through it all at the end and trim it down a little. So, which you kind of got to do if there's other people in the shop. You got to grab what you can before you miss out on some of the big finds. So, all right, more Valiant. These I was, really happy to find too. Again, some good key issues. Magnus number 5, first full Rye, who's the first Valiant original character. So I guess it's on the other side. You flip it over, you get Rye number 1. Again, Near Mint condition. Number 7, which is actually a really cool cover I had seen before. This is the first, I believe this is the first Exo armor in this one. And this one also had mail away coupons. And this I have picked up before as well, actually. So I knew what that was. This is number 12, which is the first Turok in Valiant Comics. So good key books, you know, in near mint condition for $1. So definitely spec books for me. I don't know if anything will happen on these, but for $1, you cannot go wrong. This is just a cool Bronze Age Marvel Spotlight number 1. Don't know who did that cover. It kind of looks like Neil Adams, but I am not positive if it is or not. It's the first appearance and origin of the second Red Wolf, and it's low grade. Again, you know what you're getting for the bronze and silver stuff that's in there. So, all right, I'm gonna try and pick up the pace here a little because we got a ways to go. All right, so I grabbed a couple of these Marvel Superhero Contest of Champions, which I believe is the first crossover that Marvel did, something like that. It's like the first, I'm not sure if it's the first miniseries or the first limited series that Marvel put out. So not really a big deal, but for $1, I grabbed a couple of copies of that. Master of Kung Fu, number 29, the first appearance of Razor Fist. And I grabbed number 33, which is the first Mordillo, who's an assassin, and first Liko Wu, an agent of M16, and not sure which one, but I know there's rumors tying, I believe, the Mordillo to the upcoming movie. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, so I've shown these before recently. Morbius number 1, just the first issue of his first series, of his first ongoing series, so I keep grabbing them in the poly bags when I find them for $1, so I've probably grabbed 5 or 6 of them now. Just because they're $1, and I figure, again, minor key tied to Morbius, the ASM 101 is definitely up there in price. So, you know how it goes. People can't afford the big book, or it becomes out of reach, or people just don't want to pay the high prices. So, they kick down to kind of the minor keys. So, all right, some nice New Mutants keys for $1, which I always dig for, and these will probably be going up on eBay right away, actually. New Mutants 14, and these are all newsstand, which is cool. So this used to be marked down as the first time Illyana becomes magic, but Key Collector obviously did a whole thing on if that's the case or not, if it's the true key. So it's now marked down as Illyana joins the New Mutants. I don't know exactly what's accurate, but I found this many times in the dollar bin, and it's, usually $15, $20 book. I think it's still in that range. Got number 16, which is the first team appearance of the Hellions that includes James Proudstar, the second Thunderbird, who later becomes Warpath. 18, which I know I've seen recently, Spike. Due to the trailers, it's the first Warlock and first full Demon Bear. And I think Demon Bear is the villain in the movie. I was just watching the most recent trailer as well. I guess the movie's now delayed again. I don't know if that's the case or not, but I hear it is delayed. We got 21, which is the first time Illion is referred to as magic. And then I think the miniseries, is it Storm and Magic? I think that actually predates this. I think she's just referred to as magic in the title of that miniseries, but not actually within the book, I believe. Number 25 is the first cameo of Legion. 26 is the full appearance that was not in the run. And we've got New Mutants Annual number 1, first Lila Cheney. Very fine condition. It kind of looks like Bill Sienkiewicz. I don't know if I don't think it is, though. New Mutants Annual number 6, Liefeld cover, first cameo of Shatterstar. I think it's on like a poster or a pinup, something like that. And this one I saw in the Key Collector on, one of the hot lists recently, and again, newsstand copy, special edition number 1. So I think it's the first appearance of Mist and Axe, who are Valkyries, and I guess there's speculation more Valkyries will be showing up in the MCU. So I've been able to find a few of those recently, and again, I'm buying that stuff if I can find it in the dollar range. So, all right, I think we're making a dent, and I got a lot of duplicates towards the end here. So. Okay. We got a stack out. This was cool. I was happy to find this. It is Next Men number 14, which is a cameo of Hellboy. I think he's just on a poster in like the background of a panel though. So I don't know if this really goes for too much. I think Key Collector had it listed as like a $25 book in high grade. I don't think it's really selling for that range, but this is probably near mid shape. Nick Fury, number 6. This is rough, but it's just an awesome Steranko cover. You can see it's got like water damage and color loss all on the left-hand side. But for $1, I was grabbing it. Haven't seen this too much, but it is an awesome Steranko cover. I love that. The black space background, that's phenomenal. Now that I have it in low grade, I absolutely want this in high grade because I can imagine how amazing this looks in like an 8.5. I'm sure it is unbelievably gorgeous. So that is going to have to go on the want list. All right, a couple of these. Omega the Unknown, number 1, which just happened to come across these, and it got, you know, a little bump, I think, right around the same time. I think there's a Marvel series. Is it Annihilation Scourge, something like that? And I think there's speculation he's reintroduced. So that jumped up in value a little bit. Usually this whole run's dollar bin stuff all day long. Okay, this is just, I always grab this. The Life of Pope John Paul II. You know, I'm a good Catholic boy. Gotta get the Pope comic, of course, for $1. And this actually sells for like $15 online, $20 in near mint condition, which is crazy. I think I've got a few of these, so make my mom happy. All right, some Sandman books. We've got 21. And I know this is just a super popular series. I've only ever read issues 1 through 6 in trade. This is the first appearance of Delirium. And number 22, which is the first, I can't even say that, Mazikeen, and first Daniel Hall, who I don't understand. I guess is Daniel Hall becomes Dream, who's the main character. Never read these. I don't know. Maybe someone can explain in the comments, but near mint condition and $1. So I grabbed them. One of them I know is like a $20 book. I can't remember. I'm guessing it's 22. I cannot recall though, but I'm pretty positive it is 22. All right, and here's a series that everyone's going to know, and I grab every time I find it. I grab pretty much every issue they had in the dollar bin. There were a couple that were thrashed, so I left them behind. Secret Wars, number 1. I mean, I think everyone speculates this is going to be some storyline in the MCU. Fantastic 80s series. Great Mike Zeck art. I love this cover. It is, again, the Blue Galactus variant. I can never find the regular one. It's always Blue Galactus. I probably have 8 to 10 copies. All of them with Blue Galactus. Excuse me. So, anyways, $1 though. I'm not leaving them. Got number 2. And they're all probably in the very fine range. Most of them. A couple maybe in fine. Most of these are newsstands. That's number 3. Let me see. First Volcana and the first appearance of the second Titania, however you say that. And I think there's rumor she should be in the She-Hulk show, or there was. I don't know if that's changed, but that book definitely saw a jump at least a few months ago. Number 5. Number 6, and no, there is no number 8. That's the number 8 to the left is the first copy of Secret Wars 8 I got years ago. Number 6 is the first cameo of the second Wonder Woman, Julia Carpenter. Another good spec book. I think a lot of people are speculating, you know, there'll be some more Spider people showing up in the Edge of the Spider-Verse movies and eventually maybe live action shows, so, or movies. Number 10. This is probably my second or third cover of the run. I love this Doom cover. Fantastic. 11 and 12. So those are all newsstand ones. So I think I'm probably just selling those all as a lot on eBay because I have these so many times over. I've definitely been buying a few runs of them to hold on to. I think they're great spec books. You know, again, if I'm finding them for $1, I'm grabbing them all day long. I'll pay more if I can find them in higher grade. So, and then another newsstand copy number 4, but that was a Mark Jewelers insert. And then another of number 9, again, a Mark Jewelers insert. These are probably both in the worst condition. So, and more of them. Extras, just again, more copies. These are direct. Number 1. Number 2, 3, 6, 11, and 3 more copies of number 12. So again, $1. I wasn't leaving them behind. I think the series is definitely worth stockpiling the entire run. It's always pretty sought after. It's always something you're gonna be able to unload, I feel. So for $1, absolutely grab them. All right, let's see. All right, last stack of the dollar bin books, and then we'll get into the second shop. Couple copies. I know there's a ton of them out there, but a couple more copies of Spawn number 1. No newsstands in there, unfortunately. I think they had 5 or 6 of these, so I grabbed what I thought were the best shape ones. No newsstands. I always check. They had some of the other lower numbers, but again, no newsstand copies in there. I think I found a newsstand of like number 4 or something the last time I was there, but that was the only one I could find. Some ASM, which they usually do not put in their dollar bins. That's the stuff you're not going to find. Early ASM, early Batman, unless it's low grade. But happy to find them, and I grabbed everything they had. 170, which I didn't have in my run. ASM is probably the one book I'm really trying to focus on the complete run. So that was cool to find. I've got another copy of 198, and this is a Mark Jewelers variant, and a copy of 205. So Bronze Age Spider-Man, I'm grabbing it all day long for $1, even if I have it already, because, I mean, it's the most collected title, as I understand it, so definitely good trade bait as well for other Spidey collectors, especially if you're trying to fill in the run. I don't want to spend some of these random filler books in the 100, 200 range will be like $10, $15 at some of my shops, and I don't want to spend that. So Spider-Man number 1 in the poly bag, the McFarlane series, and number 13 newsstand. Again, books I always grab when I find them for $1. Really nice copy of this Swamp Thing number 38, second Constantine. This is in near mint condition. Not a huge book, but for $1, high grade, absolutely. New Teen Titans, number 10. I'm not positive if I think it's the second full Deathstroke, but then I see people listing it as the 3rd appearance. I can't remember. I skipped over number 9, and then I went back and realized, oh, other people seem to be selling that more. I did go back, and I found a couple copies of number 9 a few days later. So I went back to get those ones I had missed, and I just forgot to include it in here. But pretty good shape. George Perez covers on that run, so fantastic stuff. Another Teen Titans book, another great George Perez cover. Tales of the New Teen Titans, number 1. I believe this is the Origin of Cyborg. Awesome yellow cover. Again, this is in really good shape, I believe. Probably near mint range. So, and I think I've got another copy of that. So happy to grab another one. This is just a Marvel Bronze Age number 1. US 1, number 1. Strange book. I don't know what it is. They're like space truckers or what. I've seen it a few times, but it's marked as the first appearance of the Highwayman, Jefferson Archer. So I just had to grab it. Just a Bronze Age number 1. Vampirella, just a hot Vampirella cover. Vengeance of Vampirella number 1. This, I believe, is the second print. It's the green metallic cover. I think there's a red. I think red's the first print. So I don't know which one goes for more, but it's in great shape. I just picked it up. Vision and the Scarlet Witch number 1. So this is the first series. I think this is 4-part, and then they had a 12-parter, maybe 2 years later. And this is the first appearance of Sam Hain, the physical embodiment of Halloween. Again, I think more Disney Plus Spec. I believe there was some speculation that villain may show up in the WandaVision show. I don't know if that's still the case, but I've found a few of them for $1, so I've picked them up. All right, this one I was psyched to find, and this was funny because I literally saw it in the first shop. I had it in my hands. I was looking at it. I was contemplating buying it. I think they had it at $15, and I noticed it had a bit of a cornered bend. I said, nah, I'm not going to buy it at that. I'm sure I'll find it cheap. And then it was literally the first book I picked up. Wolverine Savage, one-shot J. Scott Campbell cover. Awesome cover. Just hysterical that I had it in my hands for $12, about to buy it. Put it back, figuring I'll be able to find this cheaper on eBay or some other shop someday and literally go to this shop, go through a couple of books, and boom, it's right there. I was so happy I didn't buy the other one. I would have been so pissed at myself if I had paid $12, $15, whatever it was for this, and then saw it in better shape for $1. So very happy to have that. Happy to have this book as well. Everyone's been showing this off, and I have shown this off before. I've been buying it whenever I find it cheap. X-Men #4, a newsstand copy. The guy was laughing because he had pulled an X-Men #4 out for his buddy, but they had multiple runs of X-Men. He had, the left-hand side box. I was laughing, like, it's the first set of books, your X-Men run, of course, I'm going to look for it. It's definitely not a 9.8. I think I'm just going to sell this one raw. I have many copies, but I think I'm going to unload this right away. It's got a little bit of a ding up there, so I'm guessing it's like a 9.4-ish, maybe 9.6. I don't know. And the staple feels kind of not perfectly tight, but newsstand copy in near mint range. And of course, they had #5 as well, so which is the second appearance. So fantastic Jim Lee covers. Always love that. I think so many people I see on Instagram stockpiling this. I think everyone figured at some point this guy was going to have to make an appearance, and it definitely makes sense. And as I remember, everyone loved this villain in the 90s. This was a very cool character. I thought it was awesome at the time. I think a lot in part to Jim Lee's phenomenal artwork on that run. Another reprint I grabbed, X-Men 13, which reprints the second appearance of Juggernaut. It's the Pop Art Productions reprint. I don't think it's worth a ton. I think there's other reprints out there that are worth more than this one. So, all right, I believe this is the last of my dollar books. Exterminators #1. Again, another spec book I see from the Key Collector app. First team appearance of the Exterminators and first WizKid. And I guess there's rumors WizKid will be in Shang-Chi. This is definitely not a book I would have ever picked up. Surprised to see it hot. It's like seeing Power Pack get hot. Kind of weird, but it is. Or it was. I don't know if it'll stay that way, but again, you're buying these books for $1. I think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth it when I see people jumping on eBay paying $10, $15 for some of those books, but to each his own, I guess. So on to the first stop. So I went in there. They didn't have dollar bin books, but they had some $2 books they had put out. So I grabbed a few of those, and then they had put out some Golden Age stuff on Instagram, and I figured I would take a look. It was a lot of Atlas pre-code horror, and there were a couple of good books that were affordable that I grabbed, so I will, of course, as always, make you wait until the end. First book, Batman 452, very fine near mint, fantastic Mignola cover. I think this is a 3-part series, Dark Knight, Dark City, and I think Mignola did all the covers. I think they're fantastic, and this is the first appearance of Barbados, who I guess is the Bat God of the Dark Multiverse. I'm a little surprised this one's not worth more money, given the Dark Knight's Metal series, and I think they're doing another miniseries tied into the Dark Multiverse, so I've bought a few of these. I figure at some point that character may get hot. So, Detective 585. I believe this is the first appearance of the Ratcatcher newsstand copy, and this is in near mint condition. I think it was marked down as he's going to be in some movie. I don't know if that's the upcoming Pattinson Batman movie or not, but for $2, I wasn't leaving it there. Another Minded Key. I can't remember who it is. First appearance of Cornelius Stirk, something like that. Not an expensive book. I just like this cover. I think it's a funny cover. So, again, good shape. This one, probably not as good shape as 585, but probably high VF. A couple of Fantastic Four minor keys. And when I'm in the dollar bins, I will always pick out on these Marvel books, they're for $1. Any of the minor keys that I think may have any sort of potential, why not? Fantastic Four books, they're coming. You don't know what storylines they're going to do. So, this is $2.80. These are all very fine near mint on these Fantastic Four books I got. It's Sue Storm Becomes Malice. This is, I believe, the wedding of Johnny Storm and Alicia Masters. And then kind of tied into Secret Wars 319, which is the origin of the Beyonder. So to me, definitely a worthwhile book that you're going to find all day long in the dollar bin. Now, granted, I paid $2, but still worth it. I've shown these off so many times. I find them in the dollar bin all the time. Marvel Age #6, a couple more copies. It's got a Beta Ray bill and Spider-Ham preview in the back. So, again, just minor keys on the cheap. If you can't, if you don't have the funds for the big book, You might as well get some of these smaller keys for $1. Superboy number 0. This is the first cameo of King Shark. This is in near mint condition. I guess it's just teeth only. I found the first full appearance out of the same shop in their $2 bins in the past. Superman number 1, volume 2, the 80s run. I believe it's the reintroduction and origin of Metallo. Very cool. I like this cover. So I have it as, again, I think I picked up from a Craigslist haul years and years ago. But good shape, very fine near mint. Again, Thor 363, probably very fine range. I think he gets turned into a frog at the very end of this. And then I believe in 364 is the first Frogger. Throgger. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I grabbed it. It was $2. Okay, that's it for the $2 books. I did pick up a few more spec books from them that were a little more than that. $3.49 I've been seeing listed on the Key Collector app. So I believe this is the origin of Odin Force. Probably high VF. I paid more than I'd like, but this is the shop that always gives store credit. They have like a rewards program. So this was $5. So a little more than I normally pay for that, but I grabbed it anyways. This one I was definitely happy to pay. This one was $4. Near mint condition. Seeing this one heating up. It's the first appearance of Justice. Oh, is it Justice Peace? I wrote it down wrong. Yeah, Justice Peace of the Time Variance Authority. Again, more speculation. Disney Plus in the Loki series, Time Variance Authority is supposed to be showing up. And I think there's rumors that Owen Wilson has been cast to play him, or at least another agent of the Time Variance Authority. All right, this one, again, MCU Spec. I paid $8 for this. More than I'd want to pay, but it's in really good shape. I believe it's confirmed they will be in the Black Widow movie. It's the first appearance of the Soviet super soldiers. It's Ursa Major, Crimson Dynamo, and I'm forgetting a couple other characters. Maybe it's not confirmed, but I believe it's heavily believed anyways they're going to be showing up in that movie. So it's like marked down as like a $30 book on Key Collector. I don't know if that's the case or not, but I grabbed it even though it was $8. Again, getting the rewards on it, and I've been building up quite a bit of rewards there, so I figured it was worth it. So all right, down to the two big books of the haul. Again, they got in some pre-code horror stuff, a lot of Atlas books, and I looked through those, and the covers weren't calling out to me, and they were pricier. So I picked out a couple of Golden Age books that were a little more affordable and that were more interest to me. Captain Marvel number 126, very cool red cover. It's in pretty good shape. It's got a wicked spine roll here. The spine roll is terrible, so I don't know what it does to condition, but it's not really chipped at all. It's not like chipping away like I usually find on these books. The colors are bright. So I don't know. I think it's like in the good, maybe very good range. I really don't know how a bad spine roll like that, how that affects the grade, but it was only $30. So that was one I grabbed, and this is the one I am super psyched about. I didn't realize when I grabbed it, I was wondering, why is it this price? But when I got home, I realized it's America's Best Comics number 15. Alex Schoenberg cover. This is the only Alex Schoenberg cover I have. I think I'm saying that right. So it's the Black Terror, Doc Strange, and the Fighting Yank on the cover. Just awesome stuff. The cover is completely detached, and it's split all the way down. But it looks beautiful. It was only $20. So I grabbed it immediately out of the stack for $20. I don't have any of these. This is, from October of 45, and I just think it looks beautiful. So I just didn't flip it over and see the sticker you put on the back. But to me, it's definitely worth it in that condition anyways. It's very presentable. I didn't even notice it looking at it. It's got added staples, but super psyched to have that. Like I said, I don't have any Schoenberg covers, and they're just fantastic. I've been watching other YouTubers and Instagrammers showing off their Golden Age stuff, and it's amazing, and I love the historical aspect, the World War II tie-ins here. I just think it's just really great covers, really fantastic subject material. So very, very happy to add this into the collection, and a little bit worried that this is going to start me down another very expensive path. So that's it, guys. I'm sorry it's so long. We're hitting almost 40 minutes here. So Again, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe below, and I will see you guys all soon. Stay safe and happy hunting.